Good evening, everyone. On today's episode of Candid Coffee, I'm very proud to welcome a young man who is a veteran of the four-day war in Artsakh back in 2016. He is also a representative of the AUA, the American University of Armenia. Arman Vardanyan, thank you so much for joining me tonight.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor for me to be with you and having a conversation.
Absolutely. I had met you this year in April at the AGBU event. My girlfriend Ani had told me about it, and they were talking about the history of Artsakh and all the wars that happened prior to that and things like that. It was a very informative presentation, and you were the guest speaker. And myself and the other audience members were very moved by your story and your testimony and your experience and how passionately you're moving forward with the Veterans Project, right?
Yeah.
So tell me, since then and now seeing me again, what's your journey been like?
Well, honestly, that day when I was as a guest speaker for the AGB Young Professionals, and then I saw a lot of people there, it was a very emotional and inspirational day for me because I was able to share the stories of my life with the diaspora, and then it was just so emotional to see them, comment to me and then encouraging me and hugging me and thanking me for the military service that I did. Honestly, from those people, you were the highlight that approached me, and then you gave me a very nice hug, and then you thanked me for that. And I'm also thankful for the fact that you tried to make a connection with me and asked me if I was ever to hit the US again, then we will
meet up again.
Yeah, we will meet up again, and then we'll have this wonderful conversation on the Candid Coffee, and that's where I learned about it. So I was really excited. So throughout all this month, I was actually thinking about, as I knew I was going to come back, to let you know that we can meet up and have this time together. So
I'm very happy you're back. You told me I'm probably going to come back in September, so I made sure to keep in touch with you until now, and it came so fast,
definitely.
Right?
Yes, it was amazing.
How were your travels?
My travels are great. I was in Massachusetts for the whole summer in Cape Cod, and then I had an opportunity to travel with some friends in the Midwest, just exploring some historical places in the U.S. And then I came to California on September 7th for the AUA Gala event, honoring our former president, Arman for his service to AUA, and then promoting the Veterans Campaign in order to do fundraising. So it has been full of events, and I'm also thankful to be with my uncle's family, an amazing family that they hosted me for this whole time. Today the day came for the Candid Coffee. So yeah.
That's right. Very nice. I've been following your journey on Instagram, and I'm super proud of you. You're going from place to place, and you are the face and representative in the last few months for the American University of Armenia. How has that going to be moving forward? What other projects do you have coming up for that?
As I'm a senior, I'm about to graduate next year, and the whole Veterans Campaign started from like when I was a junior. So we have the vision, we carry the vision along with the American University of Armenia to do more fundraising in order to provide scholarships to the returning soldiers who want to study at AUA. So
to get their life back together.
Yes, to get their lives back together. And there is this huge vision of providing both the scholarships and also providing them mental health support once they are back into the university, because a lot of times it's really, really difficult for the soldiers to actually adapt back to civilian life and then to the academic life. So working. So we have the vision to, even though I will be graduated from the university, but we will still be working on the Veterans Campaign and cooperate.
Of course, because there will always be veterans.
Yeah, there will always be veterans, and we want to grant them with the gift of education, which will be life-changing for them.
The battle and ongoing conflict with Armenia and Azerbaijan finally erupted in 1992 and continued until 1994. Several thousands died and wounded, but the exact death toll has not been officially recorded. 22 years later, In April of 2016, we suffered the 4-day war. 104 lives lost, 123 wounded, but hundreds still returned home to their families. Armenia is dying, but it will survive. The little blood that is left is precious blood that will give birth to a heroic generation. A nation that does not want to die, does not die.
Շինացել գիրը կանգուն, գրում գնամ հրերգիր, կարոտս տար հայերուն, ավեր դարձավ պապերուս, շինացել գիրը կանգուն.
I would love to hear, and I'm sure our viewers would as well, just your background a little bit, where you were born, and a little bit what led up to going into the military.
I was born and raised in Armenia, Yerevan, and so I lived in Yerevan my whole life. And growing up, I went to high school, and I had the vision, of course, to pursue education. So
higher education.
Yeah, the high quality education. But then at the age of 18, I received, just like every other guy in Armenia, I also received the call of duty to join the Armenian military. My parents have always been very encouraging and patriotic about it, but my mom was a little bit hesitant. She was worried, if what would happen to me if I was in the military and all that. But before joining the military, I was able to earn admissions to AUA.
Right.
Yeah, I earned my admissions to AUA, but I wasn't able to, go for my education because in the summer I had to join the military.
Right,
So
right as you
right
got
away.
into right.
Yeah. So in 2014, June 30th, that's when I joined the military. And I was stationed in the training ground in Vardanyan, where I got trained as a tankist for 6 months. So I was on a tank as a military profession specialty. And then after 6 months, I was permanently, for a year and a half, moved to Qarabağ, Stepanakert, to serve there. So
I know you get this question so much, and a lot of people who are not Armenian, they'll think, oh, well, it was just a war that lasted 4 days. I mean, probably the damage was not too bad, or not too many lives were lost, but it's kind of the contrary, because Armenia being such a small country, we're only a little over 2 million. So when there's over 100 soldiers who have lost their lives, it does hurt a lot, and because that number is so big for us.
it is.
And I just wanted to hear a little bit more about your experience during that time.
When the war started on April 2nd, it was completely not accepted from everyone. So
Surprise.
Yeah, it was a surprise for everyone. So when we got onto the battlefield, like real battlefield, and we were there, we realized that this is actually happening. And even though the intense 4 days, that's why it's called the 4-day war, it was only just for 4 days. But unfortunately and sadly, it really damaged a lot of people's lives. And I had friends who lost their lives, and a lot of people got depressed. A lot of people got, they almost as if like they lost hope. And I've been in that situation too. There were times when I was feeling despair, and I was, asking questions such as, why did this have to happen right in the time when at this time when I had only 90 days left to finish my military service?
Right.
I was
just
thinking,
at the end of it.
Yeah, I was thinking this is a little bit unfair. I have a dream. I want to pursue education at AUA, and I want to make this world a better place. And here I am in the battlefield. But of course, that changed in just like overnight, because we had the strong spirit, from the Armenian diaspora and from Armenia encouraging us and lifting us up, that it completely changed my way of thinking. And so I said to myself, if I'm going to die, then let it be for my people, for my country, for my sister, and for my sisters, and for our moms and everyone. So so that's what actually kept us motivating and going in. But also at the same time, as if we were hearing about the news of our heroes, you know, like laying down their lives and not coming back. That would be very devastating for all of us. Because at the same time, there were times when we were thinking that it could have been me.
Of course, everyone's thinking it could be me.
Yeah.
Right, absolutely. I know that my cousin was in that war, and I can speak for a relative, and for my mom, and for my Morkur, because it was my Kerry's son, my uncle's son, and every other person that has a nephew, niece, you know, a son, a daughter, whatever it may be. It's your blood, it's your family. And mink starink you know, it was so hard for us, and even though it was just a few days, I'm sure those days felt like months away from your life, or out of your life, your lifespan. It was very difficult we were constantly talking to my family back in Armenia. How are you dealing with it? Be brave, be strong, you know, hoping for the best, expecting the worst, but hoping for the best. So it's extremely heavy for everybody, especially us. I feel like it's just so overwhelming for any loved one to have, you know, a child. You are, as long as you have parents, you are their child. Yeah. So to have something like that, to go through something like that, it was very heavy. Tell me a little bit about what you had mentioned during the AGBU event when you were a guest speaker about your experience in the tank during the war. Yeah.
That's the time when these were the days when I would never forget from my military service, because I spent 4 days and night in the tank without water or without food. The tank was basically my house. That's where I slept. That's where I woke up.
And you had someone else there with you?
Yes, we had the crew. So it was the commander, me, and then the tank driver. And it was very intense bombings and shootings all the time, day and night. So we wouldn't really be able to sleep. And also it was raining. So at this time, I think the Mother Nature was trying to help us in a way that, because we didn't have water, so we came out of our tanks, and then at the back of the tank, there was this iron plaque or a tray that it actually gathered some water on it, some rainwater. So that's what actually quenched our thirst. So it helped us. And then for 4 days, we actually just lived on the tank. Right. And I felt like it wasn't just when you say 4 days, it's just like a day. But for us, every hour, every minute, and every second, it seemed an eternity.
Right.
And there was a time literally when I realized that this was not gonna end. This was not gonna end at all. Yeah, I just had some flashbacks actually from those days.
If you don't mind me asking, what happened to the supply of food and water? Why didn't it get to?
The reason why it didn't get to us right away is because the truck that was supposed to bring us the food, it got stuck in the mud down there, because we were up a little bit in the hill, like on the mountain. It wasn't able to get us the food, and then there were a lot of bushes and obstacles on our way to get there. We weren't even allowed to leave our tanks because it was very dangerous at this time. Right. So that's why we weren't able to get to the cars or the car.
So it's like stay in the tank and starve?
Or
get out and possibly get bombed or
possibly. Very possibly. Yeah. So, and then we had to go and cover our tanks with trees and all that to hide it.
Camouflage it.
Yeah. So our focus was to stay alive, to protect our country, to make sure that we don't lose. And we forgot about food, we forgot about water anymore. Right. And also, I'd like to share this as well, that as you talked about your relative being in the military, and you were calling and talking and trying to see how he was doing. On my part, I didn't talk to my mom for about 10 days. When the 4-day war started, and after that, because even after the 4-day, we were still in the camps in the location for 3 months, so we didn't go back to the military base right away. So my mom, she told me this story later, that she was at her work, and then while she was watching the news on TV, and they were announcing some of the names of the heroes who lost their lives, and all of a sudden a name comes up, Arman Vardanyan, on the screen. And she literally faints because she just thinks that it was me. Who else would it be?
Right.
People telling me how they try to bring my mom back to help her to just stay awake and conscious. They told me that my mom was having a really, really devastating time. So, and then through some connections, they sent someone to me in the military, like in the camp, where that person came to me, an officer, and he gave me the phone. He said, like, "Are you Arman Vardanyan?" And I said, "Yes." So he gave me the phone, and then I talked to my mom, and I said, "Mom jan chem kara երկար խոսամ, ես ողջ եմ, ամեն ինչ լավ է." And then I just hung the phone. So she, as long as she heard my
Your
voice,
voice,
that was it.
Wow, the fear and devastation of the unknown, right? I mean, you have no clue. You can't get in touch with them. And I even have heard some parents drive from Yerevan all the way to the bases. Even if they can't see their son, they're like close by, or maybe they can talk to another officer and find out if their son is okay. And they'll do anything to make sure that you guys are okay. And not knowing kills them, because they can't imagine. Their imaginations go so far that it's terrifying. So they would rather spend the time driving over and seeing you somehow, or possibly getting in contact with somebody over the phone, just to know that you're okay and that you're alive. And then next time you'll have an opportunity to give them a call. You know, you guys don't have the...
We didn't have the opportunity to give them a call or to keep in touch. So yeah, it was long days before I got confiscated from the military. It was like really, really long days for both me and my parents and all the friends and family members that I had.
Absolutely.
So we made it.
Ով կամավոր է կրվում, այն օրից հերոսենա, իր ազգի ազնիվ կրվում, ամենամեծ հույսենա, սիրահոժար մահաշկերին է կրվում, արյունցի պես է կրվում, սիրահոժար մահաշկերին է կրվում,
This is something that's very important to me, especially growing up here. It's a lot more acceptable and normal and encouraged to talk about PTSD and depression and anxiety. People think PTSD is only happening to military, Marines, or soldiers, or anything like that, because something triggers their memory and it upsets them. No, PTSD can be any kind of traumatic experience that you have had in the past that you are reliving again and again and again, and it causes this anxiety and depression in people. How important is it, especially you as a man, and I know sometimes it's very amachumen. People, they're embarrassed to talk about it. I understand that, but at the same time, you can't keep thinking that way. There's some progress has to happen. People have to understand that it is very important to talk about it, especially for our veterans. So, what would you say about that? The importance of that? So
in Armenia, a lot of times people are not really speaking about how they're feeling or what they're going through, especially men. And I have nothing against that, but I've come to the realization that it's actually much better if you speak up about it, whatever you're going through. So after the military, I did speak up about what I was going through, and I found like the right people, the right friends to share my feelings and to speak up about it, what was bottled up there. And so I started seeking out help and support. and I realized that I was going through in the first phase of my life, the civilian life when I came back from the military. I realized that I couldn't find myself in walking in the streets or being in a crowded place or where there was loud music, because I've realized that I had developed hypersensitivity towards noise. So basically, my ears would hurt a lot. And I think that when I look back, I realized that it's because of the bombings and just constantly being in a very loud and noisy place.
And confined space.
Yes, which was the battleground, which was the tank. And so therefore, I took some time off just by myself. I started journaling. That helped me a lot. So I started talking about my feelings and where I see myself in a few years from my current situation. And I just literally started speaking up. And so that helped me to actually get rid of some of the unnecessary feelings and emotions and everything that were keeping me away from moving on. So AUA organized a party called Banaki Kef, and the purpose of it was to welcome all the returning soldiers from the military. And so we had all the professors and then the president of AUA welcoming us and hugging us and giving us little gifts. So that really made us feel appreciated coming back to a community that believes in us. So it really gives us strength, and
Absolutely.
yeah. And it helped me to move on. But every time, so that's the purpose, that's the reason why I came up with the idea of actually helping the veterans, the soldiers. That's the project that I presented for the summit in Chicago earlier this year in April. Because the request of the summit was to come up with a project that you want to make a change in your country.
Right.
And so knowing a lot of my friends who came from the military and just feeling what they were feeling whenever I was seeing them walking in the hallways, they wouldn't speak up about it, but I knew what they were going through.
Of course.
So I understand that I initiated the change of my life, like to come out of the PTSD situation, to come out of the post-war feelings and all that. But I wanted the same for them, because I wanted them to know that resources were available for them.
Right,
to
and
actually,
you don't have to live with that.
Yeah, you don't have to live with that. You don't
Right.
have to carry all that with you. You can
course.
speak up, and it is okay not to be okay. It is okay not to feel all right and be emotional. So that's when the whole journey of the Veterans Campaign started. And personally, it is my vision, and then it is also shared with AUA. That's how we are pushing and making this campaign happen to change veterans' lives with the gift of education and with the mental health support.
Absolutely. That's amazing. Honestly, it takes a very courageous person to not only share your story, to be comfortable and confident enough to talk about it so that other people can relate to you and say, oh, this person went through this. It's okay to feel not okay, like you said. It's okay to seek help, to seek counseling. And with the Veterans Project that you're so passionate about, and I'm sure you have the, like you said, the university is, they have your back.
Yes, they do.
And that's amazing, because so many people need it now. Even if it's 3 years later, it doesn't matter. They still need it. People cope with it in different ways, and they need different amounts of time to recover. And there will always be young men going into the military. And hopefully we won't have anything like we did for the 4-day war, but you never know. And so in any case, however traumatic it may be in the future, it's always nice to have that kind of campaign that you can go to and seek help. And I'm sure, confidentiality is there and everything like that, so that people can feel comfortable talking about it. I think it needs to be more and more accepted in our country.
Absolutely.
We're in 2019.
Yeah.
These things need to be talked about. A lot of things need to be talked about.
Yeah. I think that the mental health issue is a big issue nowadays in the world, and Armenia is no exception for anybody. So talking about it, whether you went to the military, you didn't go to the military, you're a boy or a girl, it is okay to talk about it. We have the whole plan already set out for for the Veterans Campaign and then the Veterans Affairs Office for counseling confidentiality. We want to make it happen, and we believe that it's happening now already.
Right.
Of course, with the help of and support of the Armenian diaspora.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Not trying to brag, but with everything that has happened with that war, and then afterwards it was the revolution, and always we are supporting our people back home, because the biggest diaspora is here in LA. And I can't tell you how much, I can't even explain to you how much we support you guys back home unless you lived here for a long time and you feel it. Because շատ կարոտ ենք մնում, you know, we miss our families, we miss our cousins and things like that, which we still have. A lot of us support a lot of people who are relatives and not relatives through good and bad times. So we miss you guys a lot, and we always think about you, and we're always trying to do everything we can to still be a part of our motherland, right?
Yes.
So I'm very proud of you, and I'm very happy that you're here. I hope you come back. I know you'll come back.
I will.
You have a long journey.
Yes.
And also, please tell our viewers everything they need to know. We'll have it on the screen of how they can support the Veteran Campaign.
Yeah, sure. My message to the viewers is that, along with the American University of Armenia, we have officially launched the Veterans Campaign, and there has been tremendous help and support from the Armenian diaspora. And the purpose of it is to grant the returning soldiers with the gift of education to study at AUA, and also to get counseling and mental health support. So my request to the Armenian diaspora is to keep supporting us and helping us with your generosity. Thank you.
I want to thank everyone who tuned in to this very special episode. I had my hope and dream of seeing Arman again since the last time I met him, and sharing his story through my show, because honestly, the amount of people that were at the AGBU event was not enough. This is going to be available online for everyone to watch over and over again, here and at home in Armenia. So I'm so happy you're here to share your story.
Thank you so much. It was my honor
Absolutely.
to be a guest.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Until next time, thank you.